Alright, now I got everything pretty much done on the inside as far as the covers up there and the dash, and now what I'm going to do is get the door cards on, get those put back together and get those on. I'm going to use some clips on here instead of just screws and that thin fiberglass, and put a little bit of strip caulk around there, keep the vibration down. I'm going to sound deaden the inside of there, and I'll probably sound deaden the back side of this panel a bit. And I got some gasket to put around the speaker here. So yeah, we'll get that put on. It looks pretty good. Nice and shiny. And I don't know what else, just moving along. I'm about to get the center console in here, the gauge or controls, I don't know what you call it. This is the final version, I hope. As far as the buttons I chose, that thing goes on there somehow. But I gotta get the different connections ironed out, so we'll work on that. Got the passenger side done. Came out pretty well. So, boy, I'm getting close. I can't really finish this up. I got this switch off eBay from China. I realize in the description it talks about a dual pull single throw switch, and it's not. But I like the switch. I already got them. I already drilled the holes, and so what I'm going to do is get a dual pull relay. I think it'll work out better anyway because this has a halo light, and these wires that go through here just data wires, ground wires, so I have no power to light that halo. So I'm going to run accessory power to this switch and then to that dual pole relay, which will switch on and off my data wires for the ISIS touchscreen. And then I'll share the same power with the other button, which is my launch control button, hooked in with the traction control. So yeah, my last video, someone was asking what were all the functions in this. I literally have not even messed with any of this stuff. I've never turned on the radio. I haven't set up the traction control. I haven't set up the radar. So all that's yet to come in these videos is getting all that set up. Got to set up corner weights, got to set up bump steer front and rear. Got to get it aligned. So, and setting up the brakes, there's so much to do. But boy, I'm pretty happy. About done. Got a little bit of material things to do, like here. I'm going to make a boot in between the steering wheel for the telescoping wheel. My headlight switch quit working, so I'm probably going to have to order a new headlight switch. The blinkers work, and the pull high beam flash works, but the headlight part don't. And whatever. The headlights work from the touchscreen though. I can turn them on like they're supposed to. Just something failed in that switch. I'm going to end up painting all these black and making sure this doesn't look like an ugly used piece, you know, in the middle of a bunch of shininess. So that'll be touched up. I got a wheel ordered. New wheel coming. And I'm going to put the harness bar in next, which bolts up right back here. And that's it for now for the interior. I'm going to start cleaning up and finishing up things in here, put the air filters back in, get this bolted in, close out panels in. I'm going to change my ride height. I'm going to raise the whole car up an inch. I got it sitting way too low. So, and then once I get all that stuff done and cleaned up, then we're back to working on the front and rear grills and mounting the radar, laser shifter, that kind of stuff. The last little bits. One step closer. Got everything cleaned off somewhat. Interior's done somewhat. Still got to do them little things I just spoke of, and then front and rear. But yeah, just got it cleaned up. So I had to stop and show it off again, because now I can't seem to get much done but sit and look at it. So I might even fire it up today, who knows. I'm back here. Only thing left is get the grill powder coated and put my braces in here, and then mount this thing, which is the laser shifter. And it's one of the last things left because I still haven't figured out a spot to put it. It's got little sensors in here, or where that little bubble is, and then over here, if I shine a light in there, I can see stuff. So I don't want to put it behind anything. I can't stand the thought of putting it off center and then not having one over here. So don't really want to put it down here. Anyway, I think I'm going to carve a hole in here and do what I know I need to do, but I've been putting off. And it's kind of a brave thing to do after it's been painted, but I think I'm going to go for it. Just make a decision and do it, you know, and whatever happens, happens. So that's going to involve cutting that out very carefully with fine tools, going around the edge, and then doing some real fancy brush touching to try and make that come out as good as I can. There you go. That's what you call going past the point of no return. Anyway, finish it up. Pushing hot air out. Sucking air in, I can feel it. Back up front, trying to get this all squared away. Finally decided to go ahead and put a hole in the nose. Put my front camera right there. It ends up working out pretty good. When I turn it on, it's got a range finder when you look through the screen. And I'm sure with a little bit of driving and checking it out, I'll be able to get an idea of what's coming in front of me, you know, which will be too high. I'll be able to see that with that camera a little bit better. Okay, now as far as the radar and the laser shifters, I'm going to mount those right here, and the radar itself I'm going to put behind the nose right up top, so that'll be it for the configuration of everything. I ordered a post with a license plate holder. In Washington, we need to have a front plate. Yeah, a lot of times I don't run one, but if you don't, that's an excuse for a cop to pull you over. And I don't think I'll need any excuses in this thing, so I'm going to run a front plate. And I want to do a personalized plate, by the way, so if anybody out there has got a good idea to name this car, let's hear it. Let's have the ideas start pouring in. We can name this thing, put a name on the license plate. Here's a point of view from inside the car. There's a new wheel I got, my Momo wheel. Still gotta fix up this area right here, obviously. At the moment, what I'm doing is checking out the ISIS system. Told you guys I'd kind of dive into that a little bit more. This is the touch screen. When you turn the car on, it will come into the screen. Now I'm going to hook up this screen to this switch right here. And that's what I got that dual pole relay for. Anyways, you get a code in here, which right now I've got the default code. Now I had Jay reconfigure this, and he's a nice guy, pretty helpful, and he was kind of he didn't really want to do all this for me, but he did. But it comes with all these buttons on here to do different things. And I needed this thing custom for my car, and I didn't want buttons on here that I wasn't using, you know, and vice versa. I wanted the stuff that I was using to be available with the buttons. And so he did that for me. So what I got is ignition. So, you know, I got everything hooked up through ignition. The car comes alive. Stuff starts turning on here. I don't have my stereo hooked up yet. But my traction control, radar. Got front and rear camera. That one's not plugged in at the moment on the front. And then everything, all the lights, park lights, you know, all the headlights, high beams, everything. Road lights, everything separate. Four-way flashers. And then the interior lights. There's that one there. And got a problem over there, evidently. And then I got lights set up. I'll have lights in the front. I got 2 in the back set up back there. What else do I got here? My doors. Opening the doors. So that can operate through the touch screen. Open the door. You can open the door from my little escape hatch handle here. I also have an input through a micro switch behind here, and once I figure it out, I'll be able to open the door with this key fob. So many different ways to pop those doors. And I also have a hidden mechanical release outside the car. I'm also going to hook up a battery tender with an external plug-in, so if the battery goes dead and I can't do anything, I'll be able to plug the battery tender in, get the battery going. But part of this system includes a monitoring system for the battery. The voltage gets below 12.3, I believe, for 20 minutes thereabouts, and then the system shuts off. There's a solenoid that cuts the power, and then I got an external switch where I can walk back up to the car and hit the switch, turn the solenoid back on, and instead of having the battery drained, I still have enough power to pop the door open, start the car, and leave. Windows, I got driver up and down, and I'll be able to do the windows through the keypad. I can do the windows through a hidden switch down here. Okay, just like that. And I'll be able to do the windows through the key fob also, once I get that figured out. So yeah, that works pretty well. And what's next? Pretty much everything. I mean, even though I won't need to control it through this, but everything that is in the car you can control through this. This one is the telescoping wheel, and I did wire up the inputs through the switch that's on the column, so I can do the same thing there. See? Cool. And then different fans. Now I've got a tunnel fan up front, which is buried inside this tunnel up here, and whatever room is left, it's forcing air through that tunnel. Obviously on a hot day. And then I got the 2 fans in the back, which suck in air through the air ducts, and that works really well. And I should, I'm thinking, be able to enter in inputs. In other words, I'll be able to operate this from my key fob. So hopefully I'll be able to walk away from my car, get out, shut it off, hit the alarm system that's built into this, which disables the ignition, and then have it programmed with my fans on the key fob so I can walk away from the car with the engine bay cooling, and then just sit there for a minute or whatever, and when it's cool, turn it off and be done. And then I've got the environment. And this is an add-on which goes with the vintage air, the heating, and the air conditioning. So this is all tied in with the vintage air through a module. Those 2 companies got together and hooked this up, so it's really cool. so I can control the temperature. And I've got a bypass hooked up in here, so when I'm getting cold, there's no heat running through the heater core. And the AC is on, and then when I go to the heat side, of course we got heat, and I can change the vents, the different mixes. And I do have all three hooked up: defrost, the vent, and then the floor, and you can mix between the three, so that's pretty cool. So that's what that is. And this whole thing's got a tools section, and I think 07. Okay, that's the update. I don't want that. Keylog monitor, keylog 13. So we go 13, so my key fob. Now this is in a tools section. You can monitor voltage for the different inputs, voltage for the motor, any motor that's running, electrical motor, different diagnostics through this tools section. But this monitors the inputs here from the key fob, and I'm just in the middle of setting this up. And anyway, I don't want to go through that because right now I can't figure it out. But I'll get this key fob set up. There's the directions. It's already got some preset things within this, and I know it doesn't match up with what I have. So I may have to get with Jay, see if this can be changed. I noticed there's a page with some empty slots, so I should be able to get my doors at least, and my fans, and then manage whatever else I got. There's ignition on here, so we'll see. So that's a little overrun on the ISIS. And I've never seen the thing kick off for low voltage, so I got to sort out the key fob and a couple things and make sure this is all running correctly, but I'm sure it will be. I got to wire up my switch. Oh no, what happened? Got it all tore apart again. Yeah, I gotta run a power wire up to that switch. So anyway, I had to do the amp, so I might as well just take everything back out. And it came out pretty well. In other words, that's part of the construction. Putting it together is how well can I take it back apart. Anyways, that all went good. So I gotta change a little bit down there. Finish wiring up that switch. I gotta move the location of my USB power. I don't know how I did it, but my seat ended up covering it. So I gotta move it over, move it that way. And that's where I'm gonna run my power from, so whatever. Get that done. And finish wiring up the console. Finish wiring up the amps. Turn everything on and make sure everything works before I put everything back together. Well, that was a nightmare. Trying to get up, wire up these relays to work with these switches, so it also would light up the halo. And I can't use the signal I was switching as power for the light, so I had to run power into a relay, figure out how to wire it up to make that halo light up at the same time, and then use the relay to switch my data wires to switch the ISO screen on and off, and also to connect the ground. The other one is for the traction control, the launch. A launch setting, when you push that, activates launch mode, and of course you got the clutch in, bury the throttle, and you choose the RPM, you know, through the programming with a laptop, and then then you just dump the clutch, and then the traction control will take over from there. So that's my launch button. So yeah, it works pretty good. So we turn that on, and then that way I can turn my screen on and off. So there's my screen. And the other one, if I was driving, push that one. That one's got the red halo. This one's got the blue. Done. That was major for me. So I'll cover those wires, tuck that in there. That stuff's all done. I'm going to wire up my amps now. I was going to let the audio shop do that when they tune my amp, but I decided I better put it together in case I have a problem. So I don't want to have to take everything back apart again. So I don't know if I showed with the tablet in there. So that'll be so cool to have a tablet as the media center for the car. It's going to be awesome. And my hotspot works really good